table on here. But what we had to find out is that they was at a shortfall. And then I was walking around the room, and I heard people talking about Mr. Jones kind of bad. In anticipation of that, I'm giving you a lot of sheets of paper. Mr. Jones needs some extra income ideas. So therefore, you have an extra income worksheet to take with you, just in case you know a family that's in this situation. Man, you go right. Now, let's talk about some financial planning criteria or some benchmarks. If you look at the sheet I gave you, there are two rules you can understand when it comes to trying to have a good financial house. Your mortgage, your monthly mortgage payment should not exceed 28% of your gross income or 1 week's take-home pay. Should not exceed 28% of gross income or 1 week take-home pay.
Your mortgage should not exceed.
Should not exceed that. So if you make $4,000 a month, your mortgage shouldn't be over $1,000 if you bring home $1,000 a week.
Man.
It should not exceed that. If it exceeds that, you run into that situation. So you get that, right? 1,000. So what's the remedy for that? If your mortgage exceeds that, what should you do? It's two things you should do. Get a smaller house. Or refinance and get lower interest rates so you get lower payment. You got two options. Two options. Downsize the house. Or get a better job. See, yeah, that's why I gave you that machine. Mr. Jones don't want to work though. So you got two options, right? And you see that 35%. Now let's look at the other ratio. Consumer debt payment should not exceed 20% of your take-home pay. Consumer debt should not exceed 20% of your take-home pay. And for this scenario, we said credit cards and your cars are counted as our consumer debt. And consumer debt is debt that usually on items that do not appreciate. Appreciate means go up. Okay, I'm just saying, because when we appreciate people, we raising them up. So when we appreciate assets, they are going up. So consumer debt, we spend that on things that do not appreciate, like the flat screen TVs and the latest cell phones. They do not appreciate. You see what I'm saying?
They do not do that.
That iPhone 5C, you should have kept the iPhone 4.
I'm about to go take it.
And then there's monthly payments on all debt should not exceed 30% of gross income. But we said they violate all the rules on this in this family. So that was our analyze, which turns us to a budget. And let me give you.
So they not.
That's what I'm gonna give you a lot of paper, but it's for you to take home from Texas. You can look at your own financial house. Now these numbers are from the Bureau of Economic Analysis on a survey they conducted over a whole lot of houses. And this, I know the numbers are small. We're gonna talk about a few of them. Four-year budgets, first of all, that's the B word in my house, budget. Budget is a bad word in most households. We got the budget, write down a plan. Some of y'all can raise your hand and raise them, because I don't want to feel out. But you see it's budget. But what I want to point out on this sheet is look at the percentages. This is the average household, and that's why I chose $60,000 in our little scenario. Look at their percentage on the side of their mortgage, of their housing costs, or their mortgage. The shelter, that's 20.2%. They only spend 20.2% of their income on their mortgage. So they're within the range of 28. That's why, guess how much they saving? If you look at the bottom, they saving $7,198.
Okay.
Because they following good percentages. know you make more than $60,000. So that's we analyzed that family, so you can analyze your family. We looked at a budget.
Okay.
Now we're gonna talk about the C. What's the C for?
Credit.
Let's talk about the C.
Don't talk about it.
First of all, what makes up our FICO score, the Fair Isaac Credit Organization, the FICO, F-I-C-O? It's made up of 5 things. Payment history, amounts owed, length of credit history, new credit, and types of credit used. I'm going to read. So we have payment history, amounts owed, length of credit history, new credit, and types of credit used. Payment history. That's worth 35% of your FICO score.
Oh, yeah.
Your payment history. 35%. That's the largest percentile. The first thing any lender wants to know is whether you've paid past credit accounts on time. If you have 1 month delinquent, that hits your credit real bad because you got bad history. And you only was late 1 month. That's why they tell you if you have to make a payment, even not the minimum payment, make a payment so they can't say you're late. My mother's credit score is 823 now. It used to be like 480 less than 2 years ago. She negotiated with the creditors, but what she was doing, she was paying. Now, just listen to this. Don't do this. I'm gonna tell you what I told her to do. Don't do this. If you're in a situation where you really can't make payments, she was sending them $150 a month, and they did not want to negotiate. Now, it was her fault. She shouldn't have got in debt, but she was there. I said, Mom, why are you paying them $150 on like $20,000 worth of debt? But your minimum payments is like $750. You would never, ever, because now, luckily on our credit statements, they show you, they have 2 things on there. They show you pay, how you can pay it off in 3 years. If you pay the minimum payments, how long it will take, but you'll never pay it off. But anyway, that's what's on your credit card statements now, which is good legislation. She was sending $150. I said, Mom, go down to 15. You say, son, did you say 1.5? Or did you say 50? I said, Mom, I say 15, 1.5. $15. Just for my mom. She was at the stage where she was so delinquent that she was never gonna pay it anyway. So I said, why are you giving them $150? You be putting that on some other credit card, you might have a chance of paying it off. She sent them 15. On month 3, they called her and said, man, we're willing to negotiate with you now. They knocked her $20,000 down to $4,000. Because they know she was not going to ever pay it by sending them $15. They could never hit her credit saying she ain't making a payment. Don't do that. I'm just saying that's my mom. That's payment. Okay. So we covered payment history. We got to do amounts owed. That's 30% of your credit score. Having credits, amounts, and owing the money on you does not necessarily. That's what you say. No, not student loans. That don't get this stuff. Student loans don't work like that. No. 30% on amounts owed. So 35% is payment history, and amounts owed accounts for 30%. Having credit accounts and owing money on them does not necessarily mean you're a high-risk borrower with low credit score. So, okay. No, it's on my sheet. We're going to take email. I'm emailing everything that I have, that I'm talking about tonight. You know, I have to copy it and paste it. I'm going to email it to you. Okay. But we just talk. Because we're on the C. We're on the C. We're on the C of the A, B, C, D. We're on the C. We got to be on the C. So we love the crew. That's DMAD. So, we're on the C. So on amounts owed, it's actually okay to owe something. You don't have to owe a lot, but you have to, if you owe something, that's okay. Now I'm not advocating credit because I have 9,000 stories. When I teach classes, usually I go off on tangents. tell stories, but inside of my story, there's a message. I have a buddy who has no credit. Her husband is deceased. He's an Iraq veteran, and she was left $400,000. She never had a credit card. She moved to San Antonio and faced the situation where they would not extend her mortgage because she didn't have credit. So she paid it off in cash, $150,000. How many of y'all sitting around $150,000? So my point is, some of us, we need credit. We want to have the house, we want to have a car that we have. So that's why we're talking about FICO score. And so I want to show you how to build it up or protect it, or at least what it's made of, so you know why they do what they do with your credit. Okay, so owing something is, they look and see how much you owe versus how much credit you have, and they think that's a good thing, that you actually have a credit history. Length of credit history. My mother's credit score was worse than mine. It's better than mine because she has a longer length of credit. In general, longer credit history will increase your FICO score. However, even people who haven't been using credit long may have a high FICO score. So that's why they tell you, say if I have an older credit card, if I have a credit card that I opened 20 years ago and a credit card I opened 10 years ago, which one should I close?
10 years.
The one 10 years ago, because of the 20-year credit history makes me look better.
Yeah.
Because they show I have longevity in being a borrower. You know, borrowing is bad. I'm just saying I have a longevity of being a borrower. You see? So longer credit is good versus shorter credit. So that's what they make up the score with. If you got cash, use cash. And then they have new credit. The type of credit is worth 10%. The length of credit history is worth 15%. The type of credit is worth 10%. The score will consider your mix of credit cards, retail accounts, installments, loans, finance company accounts, and mortgage loans. They look at the type. If you have a house, you have a car, you have credit cards. Usually if you have a good mix, they give you a higher credit score. Because guess what? These lenders are willing to give you, extend your credit, so that makes your score look good. So if you have a mix of credit, it's better than just only having one term type of credit. And then new credit. New credit is worth 10%. Research shows that opening several credit accounts in a short period of time represents a greater risk, especially for people who don't have long credit history. So if you open a lot of credit cards, what do they tell you when you get a home loan? What does that banker or the mortgage person tell you? Please do not do.
Don't look at anything new.
Don't go open another credit card account before your loan closes. That's why, because it makes your credit score go down immediately as soon as you go open another. But what do we do when we get a house? We don't even close on the loan yet. What y'all do? Y'all go down to Discount Center over there by Kmart. Y'all start buying furniture for a house you don't even have yet. And then they need to do something else on your loan, and they realize you open a new credit card. They say, hey, because I have to change from Jones because my last name Jones. Hey, Mr. Table. If your last name Table up in here, I can't help it. Hey, Mr. Table. You just opened up some credit cards. You just bought some furniture. Well, we need to change. We can't even give you a mortgage loan now because your credit score went down. Because the cutoff was 650, you just knocked it down to 620. So we can't even finance you. Watch yourself. It's America. That's the C. We have the D. Now we're going to do something like some signs of if you're in debt. The top 10 list. How do you know if you're in debt?
I know.
Give me one of them.
More bill.
You say you got
More bill than money. More, yes.
You say you got more bills than the money?
Than my money, yes.
More money than your money.
So I'm just gonna put a negative sign for you. Negative. Give me another sign that you in debt. Who in here has payday loan? Don't. Oh, let me go like I'm in class.
Please don't.
Don't raise your hand. Just blink your eyes rapidly. And I will acknowledge you with a. Okay, we don't want to. If you got more more than 2 payday loans. I'm looking for eyes blinking. Y'all trying to, y'all be like, oh man. I got a story. I get a call, literal, every month. They say, and I know it's from Cove. And it's, but no, I don't have to say it. I didn't say it because I get called so much, I might just need to start talking to him and go out with him. I get a call from Cole every month. And I answer and they say, is this Mr. Moulton? I say, yes, sir. We're calling for blank, blank, blank. Could you please tell her to call so-and-so credit because she left me as a reference. So, y'all need to stop. Stop getting payday loans and leaving your buddies as references because they keep getting calls for you. Y'all know y'all ain't ever pay them. Make up a name. Make up a number. So you said negative, and then who in here, even though this doesn't work, remember back in the day we used to write post-dated checks? Oh yes. When I first started writing checks, it was in 1993. I think I just turned 19. And I wrote my first check at an apartment. And I was proud that I wrote a check in my life. I was ready to go to work. Anyway, I wrote a check. Who used to post date their checks? Who in here? You can raise your hand on that one. We all just post date checks. What does post date check mean? Back in the day, we used to write it, say if it was the 5th of the month,
You write it for the 15th.
we write it for the 30th of that month. And the bank wouldn't cash it into the 30th based on the date because we post-dated it. We didn't inform. We put it in front. We used to give them the money and make the payment, but we put another date on the check so they can't cash it that date. What did the banks do to circumvent that?
They changed the laws to that.
Change the laws and make it electronic. As soon as they get the check, they got to write the cash no matter what date you put on it.
Changed the laws.
But guess what post-dated checks meant? You was in debt. So let's go over this sheet right here. I'm going to pass out this on talk about that. Look at the sign that says 10 signs you in debt. You might be in debt. If you. The 10 signs you in debt.
Yes,
Number 1, more than 20% of your income. Remember we talked about that rule, right? 20%.
Right.
20% of your income goes toward paying off car loans, credit card debt, or other kind of consumer debt. You have to borrow money each month to pay off your debts. You don't know how much money you owe. You only pay the minimum on each bill. Shame on you. You pay your bills late each month, and sometimes even miss payments. Creditors have to call you to get you to pay your bills. Businesses refuse to give you credit. You have taken money from retirement accounts or have used credit cards to pay normal monthly bills. You write post-dated checks, which really doesn't work anymore, but you still try. And you have to take on an extra job to keep up with your bills. And then look on the other side. Conveniently for you, 9 ways to start getting out of debt. So you take it to your neighborhood and you talk to people about it. There's some strategy you can use to get out of debt for yourself. So that was my A, B, C, and D. So now I'm gonna turn it over to Corey. Yes, sir.
I had a question.
We're gonna ask a question again. Yes, sir.
Oh, you're gonna have a question at the end?
Yes, sir.
We'll talk to you.
We're gonna talk about asset protection and goals. Asset protection and goals. Everybody doing all right? Everybody wait? James? I'm just gonna kind of piggyback on what Dr. Moe was talking about with the credit card debt thing, because it's not my talk, but you know, I think he hit a good point. I got some people I know now. Y'all
y'all don't know nobody like that, and nobody in here have these challenges. Y'all may know somebody like that, though. Okay, with credit cards. And we try to juke the system. Because I come from Louisiana, as it says in the bio, and you know, we invest a lot of money where I come from. In a casino. In a casino, that's what we do. I don't care if I got an uncle make $100 and over $250,000 a year. I can almost bet that 150 to a lot of it go to the casino. Unfortunately, not any stock. But we'll take our credit cards and we'll go try to purchase gas and things like Dr. Moore was talking about, gas and food and stuff. And on his credit card, there's a secret. I have a buddy who told me this is what he do. If he pump gas with a credit card, you can have $2 left on or $10 left on a credit card and pump gas. And it's going to let you fill up. So he's going to pump gas with a $10 limit and he's going to put $85 worth of gas. Right?
Yeah.
That's one side you might be in debt. This cousin, he take it to another extreme. He said, you know what? I got $40 worth of gas, worth of credit on the card. And so now he's going to say, you know what? I'm traveling to Mexico, New Mexico. I'm going to put $25 today, and on tomorrow, then I'm going to fill her up. And double use it. That way you can have gas to get to where you're going, and then fill it up and be negative by $100 and something versus just the regular 50. So that's another side you might be in debt. As it says in the Bible, my name is Corey Allen. I joined the military back in 2000. I was in 10th grade. I did the delayed entry program. I'm kind of a planner. So I knew where I was going. Uncle Sam. And I had a lot of fun. I love the military. I don't have no regrets. It was a great opportunity. I'm serious about that. It gave me a lot of things that I just didn't know about. And once I did that, I was a refrigeration technician. So our first class lead was my AIT instructor in Maryland. Small world. And we ran across each other a few times overseas, and I had a chance to do that twice. And when I was 20 years old, I had an opportunity to get involved with one of the most prestigious financial firms in America at 20, because I knew about money that we never had none. And said if our checking account was more than $50 in the positive, something wasn't right. Something didn't get paid, they drafted the wrong account, because being in the positive after the bills that came was not a normal thing. And that's just serious. So I said, you know, I'm not going to get myself caught up in that kind of a deal. I bought me a Hyundai Sonata, paid it off in about 2 years. Same thing with a Dodge Ram, because of the stuff that they'll teach me at the firm. But what my talk is, I want you to ask yourself this question. Sorry, first class lead. If you were told you had 1 week left to live, 1 week left to live, what would you do in the next 7 days?
Buy insurance.
I really didn't think about it. I was going to say that. I didn't think about that. But seriously, think about that. You got a life-threatening illness, doing a regular checkup, and you got 1 week left to live. Who would you want to go visit? Who would you want to go see?
Bucket list.
The bucket list. And what I'm going to talk about today is what I believe is the foundation. Because talking about retirement planning and asset protection insurance is important stuff, but it has to be based on a foundation. And the foundation is basically that they wrote a book called The Purpose-Driven Life. And what that means is whatever our background is, whatever our history is with our family, that's what we're basing all of our life decisions on. The problem is we don't really know what our purpose is, and we don't have a foundation, so that's why we can go blow money and not really think twice about it. And a lot of times, when I first got involved in the brokerage industry, I went to see a specialist, had 4 kids from California, Filipino guy, and still a client today. They had about $20,000 to $30-something saved with 4 kids and wife and stay-at-home wife. Stay-at-home wife. 4 kids, almost 30 grand saved. No debt at the time except for their mortgage. And I seen the way they ran their household. They wasn't that, by the way. But that's the thing that I really want us to, that's the foundation of what my talk is about. Being purpose-driven. I'm going to hand out a couple of documents. talking about goals. Talking about goals. While we handing that out, I really want to jump on this one-letter word, or start with a P. It's the biggest killer of, I believe, our culture. Does anybody want to make a guess? Take a guess on what that might be? That's one of them. Probably one of the top. Another word I'm looking for.
What's the question?
A word that starts with a P that's killing our culture as far as moving forward with our wealth building. Poverty is another one. One more. Pride. That's what I'm looking for. Pride. We're so pride. There's a difference between being prideful and having pride. We take pride in what we do. My grandmother took pride in her house. She decorated. She cleaned every single day. It's nice and neat. That's good. But being prideful is not. As an example, we would go down to the store. My mom and sister, they would go get their nails done. Probably once a year. That wasn't something they could do often. But every now and then we would do it. And we would talk about, man, they cleaning feet. Man, what kind of job is that? They see men inside there cleaning feet. That's a family and they own that daggone business. They own the business. But we, because we're prideful, we're looking down on them because they're driving a Corolla from 1990 and we thinking that we balling because we got rims. They got cash. And they got ownership. And they got land. So what I want to do is really think about whatever your foundation is. That's what we're going to do. You're going to flip the page backwards. So right now we're talking about goals and asset protection. We start with goals. Because products does not make any sense if you don't have goals and a foundation. It's a waste of money in my opinion. So you think about whatever your spiritual foundation, your history is, where do you come from? And you can write it down. Where do you come from? And I need to volunteer real quick. All right? I want to ask you this, and I want y'all to think about this. What is your great-great-great-great-great-grandfather's name? What did he do that was significant?
How many grades was that?
Let's say 3. I give you 3.
Yeah, you got me with 3. I don't know.
Anybody else want to answer that one?
Mine from the grocery store. 3 generations back.
3 generations back. Anybody else?
Mine's from the farmer's family.
Okay. Anybody else? 2 people out of 3 people out of about y'all together. So we know y'all don't know that. But the point is we have to know all that stuff to move forward. That makes sense? So I want you to write down where you come from as far as just one generation with your family. Where you come from what your foundation is. So as an example, my foundation, we come from a family-oriented environment. We went to church. That was our thing. That was our belief. That's our foundation. And that's where everything, or at least what we should have been moving forward on based on the foundation. I ain't saying that we did. That's what we were supposed to be doing. Once you wrote that down, I want you to write down where you are now with your foundation. Where are you currently, you and your family, with that foundation that you come from? As an example, when the last time you had a family reunion? Did you go to it? How many people you didn't know? Or if you're like my family up until recently, our family reunions, whenever somebody passed away and we had barbecue and stuff after their funeral. That's when we got back together. And then I want you to write down, where do you want to go? Where's your destination? As far as your foundation, spiritual foundation, or family history foundation, that foundation. Because I believe you have to know what that is, and everything else is a branch off of that. The branches off the foundation. So we talked about 3 things so far. Where we come from as a foundation, where we are now, and when I say we, I mean your family. Because we all come from a similar background as a race, as an ethnicity, but as far as your family, is going to be some differences. So it's your family. So there's no right or wrong. It's wherever your family comes from. And then lastly, what are 2 or 3 things that you are currently doing to make it to that destination? Or to teach the younger generation? See, because wealth is a mindset. A lot of times we talk about wealth, we're talking about helping middle income families. We're talking about the mindset. That's what I'm talking about. It's not an amount of money. Because if somebody makes $30,000 a year and their annual expenses, including rent and mortgage, is $27,000, and somebody else makes $300 grand a year and their annual expense is $318,000, who has a higher net worth? So I guarantee you, Bill Gates and Oprah Winfrey and Beyonce and Jay-Z, they're not sitting there talking about, man, I don't know what my salary is going to be next year. They're not thinking about that. What they're talking about is, what Oprah's talking about, what is my net worth going to be? That's the bottom line. What is the net worth going to be? Period. And that's what I believe we should be focusing on, based on the foundation that we come from. All right? Okay, next. Now I'm going to get into a little bit of protection side. Why I got excited about getting into this industry at the age of 20 as a refrigeration technician. And because of what I've seen, what I experienced. I don't have too many handouts, but I want to go over, matter of fact, let me have y'all. First, as we go through this sheet, we're going to go through this before I start. Even though we kind of did. I want somebody to volunteer to read the first paragraph where it says, first think about short-term goals. It says, my goals worksheet. Maybe skip a few paragraphs where it has the check marks, and it says, first think about short-term goals. Can you volunteer to read that real quick? It's golden.
Okay. First, think about short-term goals. Those you can reach in about 3 months. These might include saving enough money for books for the next semester, airfare for a trip home during a break, or buying a new laptop.
All right. So these are some things that we're going to do, but we're not going to do them right now, but we're going to go through them. Because before we do them, I really want you all to go back and figure out what is your family's foundation. Because I think if you don't know what that is, and if, let's say you don't really know what it is, but start one. Create one. Create what you want to pass on. See, wealth is not just something that we're passing on as far as, well, we got a $500,000 life insurance policy, we got $500,000. With no true wealth, it's going to be blown in the next 5 years. But true wealth is the mentality and the moral values that we're passing down to the next generation, which, as we can see in this country, we need to definitely get a hold of that. I ain't going to elaborate. It's what I believe. The second one, who wants to read the second? I believe you were reading?
I was.
Could you read the second one?
And then consider medium-term goals that can be reached in 3 months to about 1 year. These might include saving up a semester of tuition, paying for a semester abroad, or taking a long road trip for spring break.
Emergency funds account. Gotta have that. So sometimes people ask the question about, should I pay my debt first or should I be saving? And I think the answer is probably both, but if you don't have nothing saved, I will make your payments. You don't want to be late, but you need to be aggressively saving. Aggressively saving. If you have a business, I think you need 6 to 12 months worth of income. So if you make $3,000 a month in your business, I think over time, the next few years, you want to have a game plan to have $36,000 in an account, because it's different than having a job. There's ups and downs in business that people don't see to have a business. So business owners definitely need to have at least 6 to 12 months or a goal to get that over the next few years. That make sense? And then it says, finally, think about long-range goals that are more than a year away. Perhaps you want to earn a graduate degree or start a business or buy a new car. And the way I've always thought financially when I sit down with families is I always start with the end in mind, not what the short term is. Where do you want to be at this age? What do you want to have? So I really want people to ask y'all to ask yourself this question right here. Why is money important to you? Why is money important to you? Anybody want to just go ahead?
I think because I don't look at it as being so important, but I know that it's necessary. It's that something that we need as a form of exchange for goods and services. So it's something that you have to have.
So you can take it, so you can buy goods and services and take
Right.
care of your family or yours.
I mean, some people put the importance of money on a different level. I look at why I need it or what I need it for.
Okay, so you said necessities, right?
Right.
So if you're meeting necessities when it comes to money, I'm going somewhere with this. Why is it important for you and your family to meet those needs? Why is that important to you?
To meet necessities?
Yeah, why is that important to you?
It just is. I mean, it's just something that's how can I say it? A necessity. I just look at meeting a necessity as opposed to something that would be non-essential. That need should be a priority.
It should be a priority.
It should be in front of the list.
In front of the list.
I mean, if you're talking about, I don't know, it could be maybe the need for money for healthcare or the need for money for food.
Healthcare and food.
Those things are essential.
Okay. So now that you're in a position where, let's say you're in a position where that you got all that stuff taken care of and your family is taken care of when it comes to healthcare and food and all that stuff is good, and now they have access to those doctors and lawyers. Why would it be important? And I'm gonna jump to somebody else to have all those things, to have those things for your family. Somebody else can jump in. Why is it important to better provide that for your family? I'm asking.
Well, money is kind of like air. It plays a critical role in our lives. So we all need air just to survive.
Right.
But once we have survived and then we want to take that vacation to Jamaica, right? So now we can go spend and enjoy that beautiful air. So money plays both the micro role in our life, and then it plays the macro role. So once we can take care of our family, then we can extend helping community as well.
That's what I was looking for. Helping community, because it's not the money, it's what it can do. So then that goes to having a purpose-driven life and having goals. Once you know why the money is important, why we're trying to do it, because money is a spiritual thing, then now we're moving forward as a community. That makes sense? My Aunt Claudia always tells me she's one of my brokers in Louisiana, insurance brokers, and she owns a cleaning business. And she makes big money, because that's stuff people don't want to do, but their contract is crazy, I'm telling you. It's ridiculous. And I've been working with her for a day, and I got like $200. So I know she wasn't going to just give me $200 to go sit there and move through things. So anyways, though, she always says that we have to treat money like kids. If we don't tell kids what to do, they're going to tell you how to do, and they're going to run your household. We have to tell money what to do when we get it. If we don't tell money what to do, like example, you're going to go here to the community. I'm giving this 10% to the community or to a faith-based organization, whatever your beliefs are. The next 10, 20% is going to go to me in emergency funds and retirement. You got to go to me, so we're directing it. I'm going to take out 15% because I want to purposefully blow it. I want to go blow it at the lake and have a good time and buy beer. There's nothing wrong with that. But you need to direct it versus having to direct you. If we get into that mindset of directing our money and our energies wisely, it's unstoppable. It's unstoppable. So now what we're going to do is get into the importance of insurance, because my time is dwindling down. And I want y'all to write down these 4 letters. Get that marker? On the back of one of the pages. This is what we were taught at the firm about how we figure out how much insurance we need. And does anybody know why life insurance is important?
After that,
Take care of your family and slap back.
Take care of the family.
put you in the ground.
Put you in the ground. You know? Let's talk about what this means. If something happened to a breadwinner, let's say if they got one breadwinner in the house, male or female, and the income is $75,000 a year, and that person passes away with no life insurance. What's going to happen to that mortgage that the family has? Is the mortgage company going to call and say, you know what, John was a real good guy, we played golf together, we're going to go ahead and take care of that for you? No. That's not going to happen? I I stay in Houston. I don't have to clean. Oh, okay. I'm just checking. The credit card company is going to say, you know what? Guess what happens to all the debt? Where does the debt go? A lot of it, not all of them, most of it, to the spouse. To the spouse. Because y'all are one union. Okay? So, debt. Life insurance is there to get rid of debt. The main reason why life insurance is important is to replace income, though. And a rule of thumb is 10 times annual earnings. So let's say somebody makes $50,000 a year. The rule of thumb is they want to have at least $500,000 of life insurance to replace the income. It could be a little less or more, but that's the rule of thumb. The next thing, if you want to better pay the mortgage off, anybody know what that comes from? What that stands for, mortgage? It's an ancient word. I want to say Greek, but I may be incorrect. But the first word, martyr, stands for death. The second word, gauge, stands for grip. So if people get themselves involved in a 30-year mortgage, they have a death grip on your life. So you can look that up. When they make these words, they make them strategically. It's really fun when you look at what they really mean, and we excited. And people go to the bank and they're excited about this kind of stuff. We just got ourselves a loan in a mortgage, and we got approved, and they're excited about that.
Like, we just got ourselves a death grip.
Now I do believe in ownership, though. I don't want to confuse my message. I do believe in ownership. But we have to pay this stuff off as quick as possible. Yeah. We shouldn't take the whole 30 years to pay it off. We should be trying to get this thing knocked out the way ASAP. And last thing is education. Some families might want to send their kids to a college. And so if the breadwinner or breadwinners passed away, the debt will be taken care of, the mortgage will be taken care of, and the education paid for the kids, and the income is being replaced because there's investment business where they can get income every month on a conservative investment. All right? So that's the reason why life insurance is important. Another thing about life insurance, it creates an immediate estate. What's one of the fastest ways to get wealthy? Well, that's not the way we want to do it, by the way, somebody die. But it is. It is a one way to create an immediate estate to allow that family not to be in a poverty state. Although if the mindset was there, that's what's going to happen. Right. But you can build a business and sell it. Yeah. We got to be worth something. Though. Build a valuable business and sell it. Or normally highly paid professionals get paid a lot of money. That's how you get wealth in this country. Or through investing in stocks and that kind of thing, which is another story. All right? So any question about life insurance? All right? Firm I represent, we wholly believe in term because it's a lot less expensive than other types of insurance, and you can invest the money in other places that can get a better return, and it's not tied to the way the life insurance works. As far as having to borrow your own money and pay 8 to 15% on your money. We don't believe in that, we never did. All right? That's our philosophy. But the bottom line is you need to have some type of protection regardless of what the philosophy is. Make sense?
You said term instead of whole life?
Yeah. That's our philosophy at our firm, yes. Because you can take that money and you can invest it different. As an example, I got $600,000, I pay $36 a month. And I take another $600, $700 a month and I invest it. You know, but that's another story. That's another class. The next thing we'll talk about, that's my little paper. Did I put it down? All my scrambly notes. Is auto insurance. We need to know why we're getting stuff. Because the reason why our firm has that philosophy, just to address it real quick, is we're one of the only firms that believe in, instead of having somebody die to get wealth, we want to get rid of our core product. We want people to actually build wealth and enjoy while they're alive versus somebody having to die to get the wealth. Which is it's a different philosophy. Completely different philosophy than the industry. The next thing is auto and home insurance. Now I'm going to have some fun with this one. Anybody got auto and home insurance out here? All right. So let's take this example because let's say you got full coverage. And you got, let's say 30,000, 50, 30. Which means 30,000 per person accident, 50,000, that's for like the property that gets damaged or the people. 50,000 total for the whole accident, and 30,000 for other people that may be in the car. That's not bad, right? Or is that enough coverage? That's the question.
That's the minimum by law.
Huh?
That's the minimum.
That's the minimum by law. Let's raise it up. I don't like to do it, but let's talk about
5,100.
5,100. 50. That's pretty good, right? And I gave this class, one of my partners gave the class in Houston. Understanding why, being purpose-driven. If you go outside, we go get in a wreck, and you run into one of my good friends' Porsche, that costs $92,000, guess what the insurance company's gonna pay you? Who's gonna pay the other $42,000? The reason why we're underinsured is because we're not purpose-driven in our pursuits. We don't know why we're getting because the law requires us to get it, but we don't really have a purpose behind why we're getting it. One thing people learn about me real quick while I'm at the college is I'm purpose-driven. I took one of my friends out to lunch. I said, I ain't buying lunch today because I'm saving money. I think you got enough money to buy your own lunch. Is that true, Charlotte?
Yeah.
Back in the days, I probably would have bought it and bought everybody's. No. I'm being purpose-driven. That makes sense? So, having an understanding about why we're doing what we're doing is my whole purpose in life. No matter if you're self-directed or if you're a combination where you use an advisor or you have an advisor, these are the kind of questions I would be asking my financial advisor. Why am I doing it? Because sometimes people say, I got the cheapest amount. Well, cheap is a word that means cheap.
Yeah.
And when something happens, there's a reason why it is cheap.
You get what you pay.
So you have to make sure you know what kind of benefits are associated with what you're buying. And then also renter's insurance and home insurance. Same thing. You want to read what type of things they have inside here. So that kind of covers auto insurance. I believe in I have about 100, 300. I'm about to add an umbrella because my buddy gave another class. And dang, I know I'm supposed to have an umbrella. I talk about I'm a good umbrella. That's another story. That's like more coverage because I'm not paying a dime out of my pocket. I got in a wreck the other day, and this person that's not legally supposed to be here wrecked me. They have no insurance, and I had to pay a deductible, and I'm cheap. And if you're trying to sue them, guess what happens? They don't have no asset. They can give them a piece of paper and say, hey, Mr. Allen, this amount of money, and you still got to pay for it. All it is law. So you're gonna pay all these court costs, which is another topic. Let me get into estate planning, and I'm not gonna get deep into estate planning. Everybody heard of a will?
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody, don't answer this. Do like Dr. Moses said. Just do a bunch of blanking, and I'll acknowledge you, like Dr. Moses said. Everybody have an updated will, at least updated within the last 5 years. Been updated. It's be blanking. All right? Why is it really important? Well, let's talk about today's society, Ms. Golden. Don't we have blended families nowadays? Yeah. Sometimes some people may get married, somebody may get in an accident, get killed, or maybe they might separate for whatever reasons. Now you got 2 kids, one family, 3 kids, another family, they get together, reunite. Now you got a new marriage. And in the state of Texas, you have a will. Yeah. Written by the state of Texas. And if you have a blended family, I feel sorry for you, you got their will. Their will is designed for a traditional, perfectly aligned family, 2.5 kids, one time married, that's it. But it's important to have a will, bottom line. Another thing that my grandparents, before they don't have a will, and my aunt, the one that has the business, and my other aunt, that's a school teacher and a lawyer, by the way, they don't get along. Grandparents that have a will, 7, 8 years old, they have land, they have a house, they don't have a will, they don't have a power of attorney, they don't have a medical power of attorney, or a living will. So if something happens to one of them right now, if it's scarce right now, it's going to be a lot. And we talked about this 10 years ago, you know. But it's very important. I'm actually going through it right now as far as dealing with my grandparents. One of my uncles, they put him in a home, they said you can stay there for 3 months because he came to the hospital. And my aunt that owns the business, and my uncle like, no, we want to be home. We think if you were like this, wouldn't you want to be home? Well, honestly, if I'm 78 years old, I would want my children and grandchildren to live their life and put me somewhere I can visit every now and then. That's just me. That's what I would want. But they took him out of the home. And because my uncle signed him out, he didn't know the whole thing about signing out. If anything happens to my grandfather, he has to drive to his house and make sure he gets to the hospital, or he's liable for neglect. He didn't think it through. That's why I do believe, as far as a financial professional, an unattached, emotionally unattached financial professional, in my opinion. Because they're going to help see things that attached people won't.
Okay.
That's why I believe in financial advisors. If you're self-directed, that's great, but I still would have I have an advisor, I always did. And I'm one. And I always will. So I don't make emotionally attached decisions to my finances. That's where people make the biggest mistakes. That's why when the stock market goes down, everybody sell their mutual funds at a low price, and then when they go back up, they want to go buy it, say the market's good. But on November, the day after Thanksgiving, guess what people do? They go shop, right? Why? After Thanksgiving sale. So they believe in buying at a low price. And don't we want to sell our house whenever it appreciates in value, like Dr. Moore was talking about? But guess what people do when the market goes down? They sell low because emotional decisions, that's not even relevant, honestly. And then when the market goes back up, they're feeling good for a little bit more. How's it selling jobless? They didn't want to buy at the highest cost. And they say, I'm going to invest in it. No, you're speculating. That's not investing. That's why people lose money in the market, by the way, because they don't know what the heck they're doing. Because if long term, you know what you're doing, you don't lose money in the market long term. All right? And then lastly, getting back to wealth as a mindset, that's pretty much my talk. And I'm going to bring Dr. Moulton back up because I think that he hit on some very important things. But then get back to being purpose-driven. We have to be purpose-driven, know why we're doing what we're doing. So when you sit with a financial professional, you need to ask key, pointed questions about why am I going to be doing, why does this make sense? Do you have this? My recommendation is something that my family has and I have. I don't make any recommendations, or never did, that I wouldn't do myself. And that's what I believe. But you got to know what kind of questions to ask.
We have two last things.
I hope you're not sleeping, Phyllis. You still awake from that? What's that?
We will. You gotta have your health good and your health.
Right.
You gotta have that. You gotta have your health good and then your health.
Oh, yeah, very good.
We have two last papers handout to talk about. The first one is seeing how saving money, even small amounts, will add up over time because of the power of compound interest. What we really wanted you to get out of the nice talk, hopefully you've been able to laugh, you've been able to think, you've been able to analyze. We just want you to start. And if you look at these little amounts you can save each month and how much you can accumulate, because the hardest part of doing anything is starting. And it's almost tax season. And you see the bottom of the sheet talks about your tax return. Instead of saying what you're going to buy with the tax return, you can save the tax return.
Yes.
Because even if you get a tax return every year and you save it, you can accumulate a lot of money. We've got our last sheet now. With this last sheet of paper, if you do not want to talk about anything on the sheet of paper, what we do need is your email address, because what I'm going to do is collect these and send you every sheet of paper I passed out tonight. I'm gonna send you more than what I pass out tonight. Because I get it from a non-profit organization website. It's supposed to be distributed. It has good information. The reason why I went into teaching is because I had a geography teacher. He was real skinny, he had gold teeth, but he used to wear vests. He used to wear suits, he used to wear vests every day. And my father was not active in my life, so I would gravitate toward any positive male, black male that I saw. And in high school, he was that person. It was the high school coaches, and it was him. He cracked jokes when he talked. And he dressed well. So, that many years later, when I teach, I crack jokes, and I try to dress well. So give us your email address at least. That way I can send you this information. Hope you learned something. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
And I'm gonna give Corey. Yes, sir. Question and answer now. Yes. Question and answer.
Oh yeah, well, I think Corey, for the business owner, you said how much to like kind of have. I would say 6 months to a year, but I will be striving towards a year over time, minimum a year, minimum. But 6 months, I mean, I'll be my focus. But if it's not at that level, I would focus. If I'm at a week's worth of savings, then I'll focus on a month. I would do it in realistic things that I can see. Just like when we pay down debt, I need to focus on the smallest credit card, so psychologically I can see my pride and my ego ain't hurt for me. So I said, oh, I got a card paid off. Woo! It might be $200, but it ain't tax the $10 one. But I feel good about me. I got one less debt. That's how we do it. Yes, sir.
There was two things that Dr. Mosley brought up, and I had asked when he was speaking. A lot of things that hit the minority community is charity, that thing that we call church. That the household have to be on one accord. I don't care how many programs, how much money, or what kind of fundraiser they doing. You know what your household is gonna do the first of the month. We don't care who coming to town or whatever.
But see, that's when he said, direct your money. And let me tell you a story about my mother and my stepfather.
That gets a lot of minority community.
My sister's in college in Iowa. My mother gives time off, and, you know, she's religious with it, of course.
Got it.
They gave the church, let's say, $11,000 this year, because the year's going to end. My stepfather had to go down there to look over my sister because she got into some trouble, some mental trouble. And the church gave them $1,000 to pay for his room while he was there for 20 days. I don't have the emotions in the game. I said, Mom, all they did is gave you some of your money back. Am I right or am I wrong? They gave $11,000. The church gave them $1,000, so they just gave you $1,000 of your money, you know, dollars back. So I'm saying that to say I agree with what you're saying. The house has to be in one accord. Since their house, that's the only thing their house is not divided in, is on where they get to church. And so that church didn't have a problem giving some of their money back. But you're right. That's because we give it everything, but we don't have it for ourselves.
And the other question was when you was talking about the medical thing, when my mom was 50 years old when she had me, but my oldest sister, she like orchestrated the family. My oldest sister that was in the military, and we ran into the thing with my mom with the medical thing. And in the state of Texas, if you don't have a will and you put them in the nursing home, you lose everything with their name on it. If you didn't take it out of their name 36 months before they got sick, and you don't know when no one will get sick, the nursing home becomes the owner of that property. That's why they took them back home. That's why they took them back home when that social worker called. Because everything that was in that person's name, that corporate people, lawyer was trying to take it that had that person's name on it. I know that's how Texas works. And we as black people, we have to know what our elders have, because a lot of our young people don't own anything. We put everything in mama's name or everything in grandpa's name because he ain't gonna spend it. But when grandpa gets sick, somebody better know how grandpa, who's next to grandpa to take care of everybody else in the family. And I learned that 25 years ago.
Because it's something called a springing power of attorney. Springing power of attorney. When a family member becomes incapacitated, it springs into action. So I'm a springing power of attorney for my, if I was a springing power of attorney for my grandmother, as soon as she becomes incapacitated, it springs and lets me take over her affairs. But we don't even do that.
Some people don't have that. And they take it.
We don't know about it.
But we know about it now.
We know about it now.
Exposure.
They know.
Yeah.
We know. And it gets a lot of people.
If I go to be a hospital, they always want you to do this directive. They try to say, you need to do this directive for the medical power of attorney or the living will. It's another thing they tell you they want you to do too. I really want to say. I know two things. Is that advisable? I mean, because I'm saying if anything happens to me, I don't want somebody that's going to say, you know what I'm saying, put me on resuscitation and all that.
But that's why they want you to do that.
Yeah,
That's what you're doing. You telling them, you giving them your wishes of what you want to happen to you if you become incapacitated and they have to keep you on life support. You telling them, I don't want you to keep me on life support, or you saying, I want you to keep me on life support.
Okay.
Because soldiers don't know. That's why the government is trying to educate them and say, hey, we need you to let us know what you want us to do.
And with that, the next question would be, how often do you have to update your bill?
You update it often as necessary, but you update it when a life event changes. If a life event changes, if you still comfortable with who you're leaving the stuff to, then you don't have to change it. Because, like me, I'm divorced in 06, got remarried in 09 to somebody else, right? If I didn't update my will, my ex-wife still get all my stuff. So since my situation changed, I updated it with my current wife and my children. You see what I'm saying? But if I don't change it, say the text is gonna recognize the one that was written when I was in the army.
There you go.
When my ex-wife gonna get everything, and my wife not gonna get nothing. I'll be dead.
All right, I want to share this with the room. For those of us who have parents that are elderly or even grandparents out there, this is very important. Our parents and grandparents are walking around, this is very, very prevalent in the black community, are walking around with health insurance. However, in most cases, it's accidental health insurance. I'm telling you what I know. And this is not just our community, it's also in poor communities, where people come in and sell our parents health insurance, life insurance, but it's accidental life insurance.
Exactly.
This is a problem.
That's a big problem.
We gotta make sure we pass this out in our community.
I had a client that called me and said, they beat the price by a lot. I said, well, you know what? Well, that's wow, that's a big difference. So let's go ahead and sit down and take a look at this thing. So when it's an accidental policy, I didn't get into that, but that means they have to die a certain way if for it to trigger.
Right.
So yes, it's gonna be cheaper because it's a cheaper product. It's not a lot of times at work they sell it at work and it might be $1 a month. So that's not, to me, that's not a big deal. Pay for it $1.50. That's not a big deal. But if you're using that as your primary protection, I would advise that it be something that is not an accident that'll pay regardless of anything. Most insurance companies a 2-year suicide clause a lot of times. So you can't get life insurance to kill yourself the next day a lot of times because they're not going to pay it. Other than that makes sense.
And just on that note, when my mom retired, I got really involved in her economics, you know, because that was right about the time when the market went bad and mom was living on credit card, yada, yada, yada. Most of us went through that. And so we paid off all the credit cards and all these types of things. And I was looking at my mom's insurance. And believe it or not, because a friend just came back from burying his mom in the military, and he says, yeah, we're going home to bury my mom, and you know, we all thought that we had insurance for her. And when the paperwork came out, they had no money to bury his mom because his mom had an accident. So it just called him and he said, let me look at my mom's insurance. And believe it or not, she worked for a firm that required them to buy insurance, and so the people that sold her the insurance worked for this company that she worked for. And of course, they tell you, it's not expensive or whatever the case. And so she ended up having an accidental life insurance. So we need to make sure that we go back to our parents, we take this class, and we look at the stuff that our parents may have up in that cabinet, their insurance policies, and take a look at it. And you know, the people got mad when I called them up and said, I'm canceling this time immediately. They asked me if I really wanted to do that.
You know, what's good insurance you said again? Like life insurance, you said something about term?
Yeah, we believe in term. I believed it before I joined the firm for the most part, because I got sold a $100 a month policy when I was 18 or 19 years old. I got involved in the brokers when I was 20. And the only reason why I bought it because she was a very beautiful lady, and I was in the marriage room. And she said, can I come in? I didn't know what she was selling. The answer was immediately yes. Yes. And I think, and she said, she showed me like the rule of 72, which is like a accounting concept. And she said, it's $100 a month and you're good to go. And I was just signing my life away. But we believe in buying low-cost term insurance and investing in retirement accounts, IRAs, retirement accounts, investing in other mutual funds, and those type of things. You have to do both. You don't just buy a term. No, you have to do both. You can't just say, well, I got this extra $200 a month. No, it's not. It's used to be invested because you don't have to borrow that money. It's a lot of reasons why we have that philosophy.
So in his scenario, paying $100 for a whole life.
Yeah, and I was 18, 19.
You would pay $25 for the term and invest in $75.
Right.
But if you don't do both, then you defeat the purpose.
So do they still base this off of your age?
Yes.
Because I have insurance and I wanted to have a cushion. And I called the company and they told me this is how much it's going to be. And it's based off of your age.
Yes.
Now, when they sent the policy to me, and I read everything, I guess they didn't know. And I said, wait a minute, you told me it was going to be $60 a month, and you got on here $80-some, and then in a year and a half it's going to go up to $120-some, and then in this year, wait a minute, I don't want this canceled.
You have,
See, but the thing is, now, so I'm looking, I'm still trying to find me some more insurance. So now I'm like stuck. I'm not really stuck though, but it's like I'm looking, and then the problem is I don't want to keep going. I have something before, and I wish I would kept it.
I think the main thing is, regardless of if you go online, you're talking to a friend of the family, you go to Louisiana and helping somebody there do it, is to be purpose-driven on why you're getting it. Knowing why you're getting it and having an overall game plan, I think is the way to go.
Because I put insurance on everything. Even on my house, if something happens to me, I already know it'll be paid off or whatever. You see what I'm saying? So if I have appliances, I'm going to put an additional insurance on.
And
So I'm always doing that, but then I'm saying, okay, I got insurance. You know, the military get insurance. The VA don't get me insurance. And then I said I want some extra insurance. So if anything happens, then this extra insurance, I can just say, send it out here. But my question to you is, and I'm thinking about this real hard. By getting retirement, and I have the nonprofit, and I don't know if you know how I might have to go to the law. I want to know, is it a way that funds, because if I'm not married or anything, I know it will go to the spouse if you're married.
Right.
Now, if you're not,
Yes,
it goes back to the state.
No.
Go somewhere.
Go where you want it to go.
What about if I wanted to go to a nonprofit?
Yes. I didn't talk about that, but yes, absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up because we didn't have enough time, but we don't do this in our communities. Why our communities always look poor. What other cultures do, like I'm about to redo my life insurance. I'm about to do $1.5 million to $2 million. As much as they're gonna let me have, the last time they told me I didn't make enough money to have as much as I was trying to get. But I want to have $1.5 million to $2 million, and I want $500,000 to go to a nonprofit or a church of my choice, and another $500,000 going to my brothers and sisters, $1 million to my mom. But yes, to answer your question, absolutely. We encourage that because that puts money back in the community, and you left a legacy for that nonprofit. I believe in that wholly. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I can do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's insurance?
It's insurance. It's insurance, and the beneficiary of the policy is the nonprofit organization.
Okay.
But you have to have an interest in it. So a lot of times they want to say, well, why are you doing it? Well, I went to Texas A&M. That's why I'm giving to their foundation. That's my interest. I have a vested interest. Why am I doing? Because you started the nonprofit, so you have an interest. It's called insurable interest, which means that they're not going to just let me go buy a policy on you and we don't have no connection. Yeah. So I'll get $1 million bucks. They're not going to let you do that. That makes sense? That's regardless of people or nonprofit. Good question.
So when you do that, insuring somebody that you connected to, do you have to have, what information other than their name and stuff do you have to have in a relation?
They normally have to be involved because they have to, unless it's children, adults actually.
I just started and I know some folk I probably like to insure.
He want to see a Shoemaker Elementary. Fowler Elementary, it'll never go away. Westward Elementary, it'll never go away. Wow. Because there's a family that's connected to that, and they had endowment insurance. The school district, the school board, they're going to close that school down. They're moving and relocating. You can raise hell, but they're going to do that because they ain't going to lose that money. That's what he's talking about.
Let me explain what he's
the
talking
legacy, about. The legacy. And we don't do that. We don't do that.
An endowment is something, let's say there's $1 million endowment. It's connected to an insurance company normally. It's got to be an insurance company. And it's $1 million endowment. And the return is 5%. What's 5% of $1 million? 50,000, right? That means that endowment is going to pay that school $50,000 a year every single year indefinitely. It's probably in some type of an annuity or an endowment contract. Something like that, where they get that money, the principal never goes down because it's a guaranteed vehicle, mostly it's a guaranteed vehicle. So it may not be 5 or 6, maybe 4%, whatever the percentage, I don't know. But that's what an endowment is.
Now, if you're trying to get annuities, isn't there like an A, B, or C? Like when you're looking at it?
You mean the option A, option B, option C? There's all kind of options.
I mean, like, I guess the question would be, what would be the best one? Because some of them I know when I was in the class, a finance class, they told me, don't get no D this or don't get no C's because you buy junk.
Oh, are you talking about bonds? Or are you talking about annuities?
But they said there was something, they were in annuities too.
I think what I do, if I'm not sure, but I would have to look at the contract. That sounds like something that's done in insurance contracts. Yes. Normally an option A, or sometimes with whole life insurance, what happens is if you don't normally get both. It builds cash value. So at some point you can access it. Or you can get the death benefit. But you normally don't get both. And so when you have an option A or an option B, instead of paying $100 a month for maybe $50,000 of coverage, it'll be $150 a month, and you have the option to keep the cash. So you buy insurance for the insurance. So you have the right to keep the cash that's supposedly yours in insurance. Normally that's in insurance.
Yes.
But with annuities, as far as what's the best, it depends on what everybody's goals are. It depends on what they're trying to accomplish.
Can I throw something in on the annuity piece?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Michael Lee, he already told y'all who I was, that kind of thing. With the annuities, it goes back what Corey was saying about the purpose. What's the purpose for your annuity? Because really there's basically three. They got one, in escalating order. They got one called a fixed index. All right, that one is not a hedge against inflation. It'll protect your capital, and that's pretty much what it does because it's in investments that can guarantee a return, and that's going to be a small return. That's why it's not a hedge against inflation. The next one up, because the two that I'm mentioning now, fixed, and the next one fixed indexed, neither of them put money in the market. but they use markets to gauge what they're going to pay in the return. The fixed index gives more than the rate of inflation, so that you're actually making a little money. It's called a fixed index. It's not in the market. It's for folks that's scared to be in the market, but get more than a fixed rate of return. And then the third one is what's known as a variable annuity. Now they put this money in more risky stuff. All right, when they say variable, the word means something's changing. You can get into annuities that are doing anywhere from 12 to 30% as far as the rate of return. But it depends on the mix that your answers to the questions bring about. And so, yeah, I mean, everything's a risk. Everything's a risk. I mean, this insurance piece, all of this is about risk. The thing is, you're getting all of this, like the protections you were mentioning earlier, for the what ifs. You don't know. I'm going down the road. What if I get hit? I'm stepping out of, well, I used to step out of my bed. Now I have to roll out of my bed. and see, the insurance is about the what ifs. What if I step out of my bed and break my hip? I gotta have some kind of vehicle to help me pay that doctor bill, all that kind of thing in the form of health insurance.
Right.
Yeah, as far as anything that could come about, say like I don't know when. I know what the event's gonna be, especially like if I cease. But the thing is, I don't know when it's gonna happen. Yeah. So what if it happened today? What if it happens 20 years from now?
Right.
And he made a lot of good points. Just to kind of recap what he said is, sometimes the market might be up 30%, but what your goal is to get more than 6%.
Yes.
Your goal is to try to get above 6%.
Yes.
30% is something that happens every now and then. Long-term, market average about 10 to 12%.
Y'all need to come back and do another class.
Because there's so much.
I don't want you to walk out here thinking that we go out there.
Because there's too much to learn. There's too much to learn.
Y'all make sure y'all come back.
Oh,
We're not gonna pay you, Dr. Ball. We're not gonna pay you. Look at his eyes rolling. We're not gonna pay you.
oh,